morning. Hello. If you'd like to stand, we'll sing our call to worship. Same verse twice because we still haven't managed to come up with the second verse yet, but we're working on it. Any ideas? Send them to me in email. We come here to love, we come here to sing, and we come here to remember we're in everything. Yes, we come here to love, and we come here to live, and we come here to remember that we came here to give our love We come to give our love away. Came here to love. We come here to sing, and we come here to remember we're in everything. Yes, we come here to love, and we come here to live, and we come here to remember that we came here to give our love away. We came to give our love away. We came to give our love
Good morning. Welcome to Unity of Traverse City on this not quite as sunny day as it was yesterday. We're happy to see everybody here. I assume all of you are here because you, at least on one occasion, missed a really important thing because you forgot to turn your clock. I know I've done that. I was supposed to be here at church and it was daylight savings time and I rolled in at 10 o'clock and it was actually 11 o'clock and it was very uncomfortable. So nice to see you all here on time on this first day of daylight savings time. We've got a great service for you this morning. Our own Babin-Ringsmuth is here with us to giving our lesson. Yeah. So let's take just a moment to ground our service in prayer, as we like to do. Mother, Father, God, we're so grateful for this time together to connect, to be inspired by one another. We know it only takes a few, and we are those few. So grateful for this time. And as we are inspired by the message and the time together, to then share that out in the world, in our community, right here in our spiritual community, with our families and with each interaction we have. We're so grateful for this time. Let us be the light and love. And I invite you to speak with me. Let there be light. Together, let there be light. And so it is. Amen. Let's speak together our affirmation, please. I am an open channel through which prosperity flows, and so it is.
And if you'd like to stand, we'll sing our next song. Have fun with this. I can do anything I make up my mind to do. I've got a thing inside that I was designed to do, and nothing can hold me back if I don't want it to, 'cause I can do anything I make up my mind to do. 'Cause if I can think, then I can believe, and when I believe, I'll receive. I can do anything. I can do anything. I make up my mind to do. I know a thing inside that I was designed to do, and nothing can hold me down if I don't want it to. 'Cause I can do anything. I make up my mind to do anything. I make up my mind to do.
You need the microphone, I think. Here, let me bring it to you.
Thank you, sir. We've got just a few announcements for you this morning. We're excited to welcome our very own Babin-Ringsmuth as a guest speaker today. Okay. Next week, the guest speaker will be our beloved former UTC minister, Judy Grimes. And we'll finish out the month with our own Bob White, who will be sharing his thoughts with us on March 26th. Yay! Please join us next week, March 19th, as we install our new Board of Trustees during the morning service. We are very grateful for all of them. The Course in Miracles study group will now be meeting every Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. Whether you are a longtime student or new to the course, all are welcome. And we'll be starting another study group today, and it will last 4 weeks, ending on April 2nd. The group will meet from 12:15 to 1:30, and this study group will be based on the book I Never Thought of It That Way by Monica Guzman. And the goal of the study group is to discuss the author's ideas and suggestions on how to have fearlessly curious conversations in these very polarized times. It's an awesome book. Even if you can't join us at all, I invite you to get the book. If you're not a reader, you can get the book on audio, and it is a great listen. The author herself is the one that reads the book on the audio tape. She's very engaging. The book has many, many, many examples in it, so it's really easy and approachable to listen to, enjoyable even. You can't help but find yourself going, oh, yeah, oh. It's just really engaging. A lovely, lovely time to spend thinking about how we engage in the world. So that's if you can't come to the class. You can still do that and come to the class. You'll just get more out of it. If you can't come to all of the classes, come to however many you can make. We will build. Everything will be sort of reviewed and talked about at the beginning of each class, so please don't worry if you can't make all of them. And we'll be meeting in here at 12:15, and I'll be the facilitator for the class, so very excited about it. Yeah. I'll be here, of course, after the service if you have any questions and trying to decide whether you can make it today or you have any other questions about the class. The Compassionate Choices Group monthly meeting will be Wednesday, March 22nd from 6:30 to 8 p.m. in the Fellowship Hall. The mission of the group is to envision a world of peace for all beings and to support one another in making choices that align with our innate value of unconditional compassion. We are part of a peaceful uprising. Come join us for conversation and fellowship. All are welcome. And I believe we have a congregational song next.
Remain seated for this one.
Oh. Test. Thank you. Test.
My body, my soul, sacred plan. I know that it's true when all that I am comes down to you. I know that it's true. I know that I can rely on you. All that I am, all that I am, all that I am, gonna give to you. All that I am, all that I am, all that I am, gonna give to you. My thoughts and my mind belong to eternal time. My words and my song, you're writing them all along. I know that it's true when all I am comes down to you. I know that it's true. I know that I can rely on you. All that I am, all that I am, all that I am, gonna give to you. All that I am, all that I am, all that I am, gonna give to you. All that I am, all that I am, all that I am, gonna give to you. All that I am, all that I am, all that I am, gonna give to you.
This is our time of meditation, and as the lights dim, I invite you to use that as a signal to turn within. Take a deep breath in and release. Feeling all that tension and stress just leave your body down through your feet. Feel your feet connected, rooted to the earth. Another breath in and relaxing a little more. And I invite you to open your hearts and feel the light of God, the light of the divine spirit, that energy that connects all of us, coming in through your heart space, moving through your body, feeling a lightness. A lightness and yet a connection. Power. And we welcome the light. Today's daily word is illuminate. I welcome the light. Taking a moment to appreciate the beauty of a sunset, I realize that in another part of the world, the first rays of a rising sun are bringing light to a morning sky. Whether I can see it or not, the sun never stops shining. Somewhere, a new day is dawning. Much more brilliantly than the sun, the light of God, too, is always shining. Sometimes my thoughts may be so focused on a challenging life situation that I do not sense this divine light. Then in a flash of insight, I experience again the illuminating presence that even in my darkest moments is as near as my next thought. I affirm, let there be light. I breathe out frustration and worry. Breathing in, I am filled with the light of truth that illuminates my mind and shines from within my heart. I'll say that again. I affirm, let there be light. I breathe out frustration and worry. Breathing in, I am filled with the light of truth that illuminates my mind and shines from within my heart. Let's sit in just a moment of silence. And as you feel that light radiating within you, moving to all parts of your body, I invite you to speak with me. Let there be light. Together, let there be light. And so it is. Amen.
In the web of a spider,
Good morning. I am Blake Ringsmuth, and I am happy to be here today to speak, and I want to share something with you. Perfect. That has nothing to do with my talk. I just wanted to warm you up a little bit. I mean, who doesn't love a golden retriever in the snow? And that is exactly, that's our golden retriever, Scuppers. Oh, no, not yet. Okay. So, who here is here for the first time? Anybody? No. Well, welcome back. This is awesome. So, my talk today is going to be just a little bit old school. You know, I had planned on sharing with you the epiphany I had, that what God is, how to reach God, God's meaning in our lives, but I thought that's too simple, so I'm going to go with this. Because you guys have already gotten that, I mean, I'm sure. By way of background, I am a trial attorney and the grandson of a minister here in town, and I'm not exactly sure what that makes me other than, I mean, you guys can judge for yourself. I do like to have fun. Last week I was in front of 7 very serious people who were judging a case, and so I feel very welcomed and warm here. And that's a nice change. So I want to take a step back and examine something that is going to be helpful as I do my talk, and that is the 5 basic unity principles. I'm going to have Vanna, if she would, come up here. The lovely Vanna. You can go. Can you go out a little bit further, Vanna? Watch your step. Maybe closer. Can you all read that? Okay. Okay. So, wait. I'm going to read it for you, but the 5 principles, and I'm not surprisingly using the kids' version of this, which I stole from the back room where our children's was. So I think we're good. Thank you. I'll take that. Anybody want to buy a vowel? All right. Just briefly, the first unity principle, again in the children's version, is God is all good and active in everything, everywhere. Okay? God is all good, which is love, and active in everything, everywhere. And we heard that in the music today. It was perfect music. The second principle is you, are naturally good because God's divinity is in me and in everyone. These are pretty powerful. The third principle, I create my experiences by what I choose to think and what I feel and believe. The law of mind action, right? If we want to use the adult version. The fourth, through affirmative prayer and meditation, I connect with God and bring out the good in my life. Through affirmative prayer and meditation, I connect with God and bring out the good in my life. And the fifth, I do and give my best by living the truth. I make a difference. And we will come back to those. Now, let's see. We have a ritual. We have many rituals in unity. We have the peace song. We have our burning bowl. We have the letters to God that we write. And we have another one. And it may sound familiar. Why do we do those things? What's the meaning in them? Well, for me, and the reason I wanted to do this talk was sometimes when you're doing a ritual, at least for me, the meaning, the substance gets a little lost. It's time to stand. I mean, I make, pardon any recovering Catholics here, but I always joked when I would go to a service, it was like stand up, sit down, fight, fight, fight. You know, it was, on your knees, stand up, and it was lost on me, and I've since matured, and a little, a little, and I've come to appreciate the ritual, but to truly appreciate a ritual, you have to believe in it, and you have to accept the foundations of it, and what it stands for, and why we do it, I think. And there's another one here that we do religiously. You can put it up. Okay, just don't whispering among yourselves. If you know who that is, raise your hand. Okay. Excellent. Well, I'm not going to call on anyone, but that is James Dillett Freeman. James Dillett Freeman. Do you know who James Dillett Freeman is? Excellent, but I'm going to tell you anyway, because somebody might not know. And I'm embarrassed to say we've been in unity for 27, 28 years. I did not fully appreciate James Dillett Freeman. James Dillett Freeman has Native American heritage, Choctaw, Cherokee, and Irish. And he chose to go with the more native cultural aspects of his life. That is a younger photo of him. There are older photos of him where he looks a little different. He was known as the poet laureate of unity. He authored numerous poems and books. He was recruited to unity or invited into unity by Myrtle Fillmore, her own self. And he lived from 1912, let me get this right, 1912 to 2003. 2 of his works were taken to the moon. Taken to the moon. One of them left there. A copy of I Am There. Do you know I Am There? I was going to read it for you, but it seemed a little long, and it's a little dark. A little dark. It was written out of the lingering death of his first wife, but it is probably his most famous work, except for maybe one other. But a copy on microfiche was left at the moon of I Am There. And one of those works is what we're going to examine. So does anybody know what other important work that happens to be a ritual that we use he wrote? Go ahead. Is it there? It is. The prayer. He wrote the prayer for protection. Carol was kind enough to sing it in a song today, even though I think she sang it last week, I'm told. Yvette told me how powerful it was, and I thought, geez, God and I were just a little 1 week behind, and I'm sure it was God's fault because my Google Calendar is pretty tight. So, oh man. So let's talk a little bit about this prayer for protection. And before that, what got me into it? We've said this prayer, and some of folks who've been here longer than me, we started coming in 1997-ish. Our daughter was born in 1999. And I am pretty sure we said the prayer for protection every service since that time. Does that seem right? Yeah. And when I first got to Unity, wow, the words really rang true. And then it became more of a just saying it at the end. And we had our children. And so for us, every night, I was going to send Molly another picture, but I thought she'd kill me if I had another slide to go up at the end of the day. Both our children, Sage, who has spoken here recently, and Tristan, we would gather together in their bedroom. They shared a bedroom for a while. And we would hold hands, and we would say the prayer for protection together. Because I wanted them to know that they were protected by the love of God and by their parents, Yvette and I. And that was very powerful. The prayer for protection was developed by Freeman in response to World War II. At the beginning of World War II, folks all over the world were contacting Unity, wanting prayers for protection as bombs were falling on them in Europe. Violent conflict was spreading around the world. And Freeman was charged with writing and publishing in the Unity newsletter thoughts of protection. And he started with, and you may remember this, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me." And the Unity folks said that doesn't really cut it. That's a little bit of a downer as the bombs are falling. And so he went back and he wrote some of his own prayers. And the prayer for protection evolved. One of the iterations before the final one read, "The light of Christ directs me. The love of Christ enfolds me. The power of Christ protects me. And the presence of Christ upholds me." And then evolved into this. So I love music. Any of you been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Sweet. Okay. Well, there's a book that I'm slightly embarrassed to tell you is probably one of my favorite books of all time, and it's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas by Hunter S. Thompson. I read it as a small child. And that quite possibly explains some of my personality today. But that aside, at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, there's an original manuscript of Hunter S. Thompson corresponding with the publisher of the Rolling Stone, Jan Wenner. There is the original words to some of the Talking Heads songs, which are some of my favorite, on napkins. And that is pretty cool. And so when I started thinking about the importance of this prayer to me, of course I did a little research, and I found this. AJ, this is James Dillett Freeman reading it. And to me, that's like the Grail. This is him reading what he wrote that we've all said for decades, since the 40s. Go ahead, AJ.
The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is.
Perfect. And the all is well was added later. But that was him. That was the voice that created what I cherish. But being who I am and having a license plate that says question authority, which has not gotten me a ticket yet because I don't think the police can figure out what it actually says, which I'm counting on. At some point, I started, questioning my beliefs, some of this stuff, that prayer for protection. And it started to bother me because it was an important thing to me. But I gave in to it. I said, okay, I'll be curious. I want to know. But what do those words mean? How are those statements true? What is God? That's embedded in that question. And then I did have an epiphany, and it was rooted in what we started with, and it was the spiritual principles of unity. So what I'd like to do is just take a quick moment and go through the prayer of protection and give to you my take on it. Remembering those 5 basic unity principles. Okay? The light of God surrounds us. Light is a symbol of wisdom. It is warmth. It is source. Light shows us the way when there is darkness and doubt, confusion. Jesus said, "I am the light of the world." But what else did Jesus say? Jesus said that you are the light of the world too. And Jesus said, "You will do even greater works than me." The light is the way shower. It is the wisdom that comes from that still, quiet voice. Not my will, but thy will. It is always there if we turn to it. And that light surrounds us. And of course, this is true because we are all the light. And if we are all the light, are we not surrounded by each other? If we all have that divine spark within us, are we not all the light? We are God manifested in our imperfect perfection. Thus, we are the light of God that surrounds us. How about that? We are the light of God that surrounds us. We're little lanterns running around. Take that bushel off. That's about all the biblical references I got for you. Because while I was the grandson of a minister, I was sheltered from religion by my parents for a long time. And okay, one down. The love of God enfolds us. I love the word enfold, so I looked it up. Hold lovingly. Hold lovingly. We're pretty famous for our hugs around here. I have been complimented more than once on my hugs. And I got that from my father. Thank you, Dad. To be enfolded in a loving hug. Gary Zukav, author of many books, including Seed of the Soul, teaches us that love is all there is. That's the only thing that's real. Not fear, not hate, not lack. Those are false. For at our true nature, we are prosperous, loving, all-encompassing beings. And that is the truth. And that love is always present. That enfolding love is always present in the form of compassion, gratitude, service, and joy. God is love is an affirmation of one of Unity's core beliefs. Number one. And it's the truth for millions around the world. Returning to that first Unity principle, if God is all good and loving and everywhere present, then I must be enfolded in that love. Does it not stand to reason? This is the lawyer in me. Is that not a truism? If you believe that first principle, is it not true that we are all enfolded in love? And if we are God's love, we enfold each other in it, if we so choose. That loving hug. It is my choice to see it, to embrace it, to welcome it or not. Love is the power that joins and binds in divine harmony the universe and everything in it, and that means us. And as our second unity principle tells us, we are naturally good and loving because we are imbued with that love of God. We are the ones that give the enfoldment through compassion, service, and modeling our spiritual path for others. We are the loving hug of enfoldment. The power of God protects us. Now, as a kid, I was exposed to the idea that God intervenes and God has a white robe and a beard. And I don't believe that any longer. But how would the power of God protect us if God doesn't intervene for us? Well, in our second and third unity principles, we know that we create our reality and our thoughts through the law of mind action. Right? Can I get an amen? Amen. Wow, thank you. Next time it'll be hallelujah. As we move on to the evangelical side of my talk. So, if we create our reality through our words and actions, and we co-create our lives with God and the world we live in, we are the power of God in action. We are God's hands, feet, mouth, and eyes. Through our intention and our prayer, and if we live with a grateful heart and we embrace thy will, not my will, we are always protected. Because no matter what happens, no matter what happens, there is good to be had. And that's not easy to swallow. But it is the truth. We've had folks right up here who have experienced what I think all of us would consider catastrophic, life-ending, changing experiences. Do you remember the quadriplegic gentleman who came and spoke to us? Did he not turn that experience to something positive? Did he not turn that experience and share it with us so that as we sat out there, we were benefited? We were lifted up. Lord Jean's story. The folks that come here and talk. But even in our own lives, have we not passed through that dark valley, come out the other side and said, wow, what a gift. What a gift. That is the power of God that protects us. God doesn't make us win the lottery. But through the power of prayer and affirmation, the law of mind action, thoughts in mind produce after kind, that is protection. That is the Kevlar vest. Now, I'm not expecting many of you, but who here has ever faced some serious adversity? The one of you that hasn't can probably leave now, but... And who here, and I'm not asking for a show of hands, feels that they are stronger and wiser and more compassionate as a result of it? And is that not the protection? God does not intervene except when the lights flicker. God gives us the tools. The tools are ours to protect ourselves, and we are God. Our weapon, our shield, is prayer and affirmation and choice. We all have a choice in any given moment to see the good or the bad. Now, is this glass 3/4 full or is it 1/4 empty? Right? If I'd have been thinking, I would have made it half empty, but... All right. So now we all have the power of God to protect ourselves. What's next? Let's see. The light of God, the love of God, the power of God. It's, what was that? I know, I got it written down here. I just wanted to engage you in the talk. Come on. The presence of God watches over us. Wait. But wait, I got to go back because I had some more stuff written on this page that I wanted to share with you. We have each other. We are God. We protect each other. Like I protected my children. I bathed them in the knowledge that God is good, that they are loving, divine, perfect creatures. And I wish Steve was here, Steve Orr. You all know Steve Orr? Steve Orr had us to protect him. Steve Orr, for those of you who don't know, had multiple fractures and falls and hospitalizations over the last year. I mean, he spent more time in a hospital than he spent out of a hospital. But he and Sheila had us, our prayers to protect him. And he came here and thanked us because he felt them. Silent unity. You all know about silent unity? Silent unity is the power of God protecting us. And that is us. The presence of God watches over us. We have constant access to the presence and truth of God because we are God and we know God is everywhere. As we develop our relationship with Spirit, it manifests itself in increased life, peace, love, and spiritual joy. If God is always and everywhere present, in everything, including within you and me, then the divine presence, that still, quiet voice, intuition, that knowing, if we but listen, is watching over us. We have to quiet our minds. Eckhart Tolle, you know Eckhart Tolle? Talked about the monkey mind. My brain will not shut up unless I make it and work at it. And that's not God. You've probably heard me say this before. One of my favorite bumper stickers I have ever seen, it was right here at this church. It said, "Do not believe everything you think." Thank God. That'd be a dark place sometimes. That presence is always there. That's why we meditate. That's why we meditate. We take that with us wherever we go, that ability to quiet our mind and get with that presence. Wherever we are, God is. I'm going to break that up into two. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Well, we know that wherever we are, God is, because we've just talked about it for the last 15 minutes. God's within us. And the old Tibetan philosopher Yvette said, wherever you go, there you are. And that's good, and it can be not as good, depending on what you take with you. Now, and all is well? Well, thankfully, I'm not the first guy standing up here to talk about that. We've had Joe Kelly and Homer and I talking about all being well and what that means and what it doesn't mean. That's a tough one. All may not be well to our human way of thinking. My will. And I cling pretty tightly to my will. And my job is to impose my will on folks. as a profession. But I happen to know through personal experience that that doesn't always work so well. And it can be very painful when I don't get my way. And so there's a song about that. There's more than one, and I've actually burst into it as I've stood here before, but I'm not going to do that today. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And when I am in alignment with that, things get a lot easier. And all is well. Doesn't it? So, releasing the human judgment and reminding ourselves that because love is all that is real, and we co-create and manifest our reality, all is truly well if we release our human wants and desires. More than one philosophy, but the Buddhist philosophy, the source of misery is what? Want. If I release want, if I embrace what is, if I have a grateful heart, what else do I need? Do the birds care? Thy will, not my will. Gratitude in everything. And said more simply, it's the ability to make lemonade when you're given lemons. And so, I'm thankful for the prayer for protection. And by being able to stand here before you and think about it, as I have over the last week or so, it has taken on a deeper meaning for me. And it has allowed me to reconnect with the 5 unity principles. And that's a gift. And so the good news is we will be able to share that prayer together at the end of this service. And my hope is that maybe it gives a little extra meaning to you when we say it. And maybe you share it with someone else. I behold the Christ in you. That divine spirit and spark. Namaste.
It's a red letter day. I'm coming out from behind the furniture. Mostly I'm more comfortable back there. But I'm doing this song because I thought Blake would get a kick out of it. Up this morning, something wasn't right. My poor head was a-throbbing 'cause I tossed and turned all night. This unfamiliar feeling, it shook me up inside. The truth it was revealing that a part of me had died. So I called my higher self. She gave me the bad news. She said, your life is just too good. you lost the right to sing the blues. That broken down old Chevy that was eating me alive. I visualized a Lexus and now it's sitting in my drive. That man of mine, that scoundrel, that rotten low-down bum, I've transformed him into a love guy with a sizable bass drum. Now everywhere I looked, I am confronted with the clues. My life is just too good. I lost the right to sing the blues. Now you can sing the blues if you can't pay the rent, and you can sing the blues if all your money has been spent. But how can I sing the blues? I ain't got no excuse. When I'm driving in my Porsche on the way to my masseuse. So you won't find me wailing late at night in some smoky bar, and you won't see me crying tears until Brad's old guitar. I'm too busy cleaning my chakras and chasing bad karma away and fluffing up my aura. Well, honey, that can take all day. Now that I'm enlightened, I've got to spread the news. When life gets this down good, you've lost the right to sing the blues. Play the blues. Your best friend puts you down, and you can sing the blues if your man has done left town. But what gives me the right to sing that mournful tune when I'm steaming with my honey in my sauna in Cancun? So now you've heard my story and you understand the pain of searching but not finding any reason to complain. My stars are in alignment, my house is all feng shuied, my bills have all been paid. I let go of the struggle, you know I paid my dues. When life gets this darn good, you lost the right to sing the blues.
As we do, as is our ritual, let's gather in a circle. And we take this opportunity to speak into the circle, if it's comfortable, the name of someone or a circumstance that you would like to call a higher good, a higher power to. So please take that moment right now. And we know as we hold these folks and circumstances in mind, a higher good is being called to it. It may not be what we see as the highest, best outcome, but we know and trust that it is for thy will, not my will. And we consecrate these prayers and blessings with our prayer for protection. And together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.